Let's do Earth. We're using, so this is, I'm going to do 3 signs at a time so I can make sure I get them all done. This either fits or it doesn't. Check the description box for everything you need to know. I'm clairsentient, claircognizant, clairaudient. When I hear ringing in my ears during readings on this side, the right side, messages from people I know that have passed on, and on that side, messages from my spirit guides. We are using the Tarot of Sacred Kingdoms, and we're going to do a past, present, future spread, 6 cards each line, magnetic poetry, and oh my god, I finally got it like a couple months ago, but I didn't get to, you know, use it yet, the Book of Answers. So, let's get into it for you. Cards have been pre-shuffled, but we'll do it some more. I really, really love this deck because the edging is black, and that's super cool. And the graphics are really great, too. A Rush of Blood to the Head by Coldplay. There's something about meeting somebody, but it's like, I get like somebody who's passed on. At the end of the song, it's like, so meet me on the bridge, meet me on the lane. When am I going to see that pretty face again? Meet me on the road, meet me where I said. Blame it all upon a rush of blood to the head. It's, meet me where I said. It's like a meeting place or somewhere where, you know, like there's like a pact or like, well, I'll meet you here. But also like a feeling of something being irrevocably lost. Like when I finally do meet you again, I'll meet you where I said, kind of thing. Yeah, I don't. It's kind of what I get on that one. If you need to check if you need to know what your rising moon or Venus sign are, which you should also be watching your rising moon and Venus sign, not just your sun sign, which is probably why you're here. You can go to the description box, and there is a site that still does free natal charts for people. You do need to know the time that you were born for your rising sign, because that changes every 2 hours on your birthday. So, yeah. Anyway, the day started out rather warm, but then I turned off my heat, and so I had to put on a big, bulky, chunky sweater. So, because the cardigan wasn't doing it. Give me some patience. Give me a sign. Give me a sign. Somebody's looking for a sign. Give me a sign. Give me a sign. I don't know. What are you looking for a sign about? Give me a sign. Give me some guidance. Give me some guidance. Take it away. Take me away. Somebody's looking for a sign or some guidance or something. Alright. You know, a lot of these newer decks that I have are super thick. I have smaller hands, so I can't really shuffle them as classically as I would like. Twist for fairness. Give me a sign. Give me a sign. Meet me on the road. Meet me where I said. The number 9. The number 9. Let's get your magnetic poetry to start. The number 9. I'm going to put these in list order so that you can take a minute to write down what you want. And I won't be putting them in like this, because then it'll seem like I'm trying to guide the sentences, and I'm just here to show. I'm not here to guide, like to put things in a certain way, or encourage certain. Do you know? Like, I'm not trying to make it appear a certain way or not appear a certain way. Okay. That's for you. Apologies on the nails. I'm trying to save money. So there you have it. Okay. I think it's funny when you get like words like sausage. Like, what does that mean? That's super random. Maybe somebody's eating breakfast while they're reading this and cooking. Who knows? Let's get started for you. Meet me where I said. Okay, I only take flippers and jumpers. Let's see the past energy for earth signs. That would be Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Past energy for you. We're doing April all the way into May. This way, you know, somebody isn't going to get ripped off and not get their reading. We have the Ten of Wands in the reverse with the Six of Swords and the Ace of Swords in the reverse. This is what I love about tarot, when you get more than one card at a time. So the Ten of Wands in the reverse, dropping of burdens, responsibilities, moving on from leaving something disastrous behind you, moving towards brighter horizons. But with the Ten of Swords, so there's a dropping of burdens, responsibilities, dropping something heavy, and moving forward. Often this can be seen as a journey across water as well, relocation across water, trip overseas, quite literally overseas. But then also, again, it's leaving something of disaster behind you and moving on to brighter horizons, greener pastures, broader horizons. And then it's almost as if there's deceit involved. Moving away from deceit, unburdening oneself from deceit, or moving away from a situation that was wrought with lies, betrayals of the deceptive nature. This is a lie, something that isn't a truth, an untruth. You've been untrue. I've seen it before and I'll see it again. Cold chamber, untrue. You can't stop me. You know who I am. Ten, 6, 1, 17, 8. Yeah, it's like a walking away from something to unburden oneself. And then also, of course, because there was deception involved. Moving forward, that's the past. What else in the past for you? Earth signs, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. In the past. Past energy for earth sign individuals. I mean, and that's a smart thing to do. You're either unburdening yourself from a dishonesty, a deception, and moving forward from that, or it's the weight of knowing that you were deceived. One of those. Yeah, and taking a risk, the adventurousness of risk. Aries energy with the Fool here. Card 0. The Fool is actually, within the tarot, a representation of the human in the whole story of major arcana archetypes. Being somebody who has to strike out and not necessarily have all the answers. The adventurousness and risk-taking required in order to learn. And I think that's kind of all of the journey, moving, leaving something behind of burden, dropping the responsibility and burden in the Ten of Wands, and moving forward, taking the journey onto something brighter and better, and leaving deception behind you. precipitates risk-taking and adventurousness for the purposes of learning something about oneself and about the world, and expanding one's horizons forward, moving forward on the path, the journey of life, right? And that was fast. Is there, well, there's only 3. I have to take them. And I normally was only going to do 6 cards on each row, but that is what it is. Yeah, so there's an ending. The Lovers, Death, and the 6 of Pentacles. In so taking the risk and being adventurous in the past, we have a choice in a connection, or happening upon the journey onto somebody who you have the ability to make a choice with, or choose an individual, choose a connection, choosing oneself even instead of a connection. But the Lovers used to be, as many people in the tarot community know, the choice card, the choice to be with somebody, to choose oneself, but also to choose a person, to choose a connection. And this is the Gemini card, a Gemini card. But the adventurousness and risk-taking actually has you happen upon a lover on that path, followed by. And then we have here, Then we have the Death card after that. It's an ending, a transformation of sorts that happens as a result. Maybe there's an end to loneliness, I'm hearing. An end to loneliness. Scorpio energy in that Death card. But I don't think I think there's an ending of all of this. The burden, the deceptiveness, and an ending to some sort of darkness and pain and self-reliance. I'm hearing over here. Self-reliance, transforming oneself into a part of a union as opposed to an individual with this. Something new, something brighter. Yeah, it's interesting because then we have the 6 of Pentacles that comes next. This is a balance of give and take, equilibrium, and all of a sudden not just being in a one-sided environment or climate, where all of a sudden there is the charity and the charitable, instead of just an individual having to kind of do everything on their own, which we would normally see if this was in the reverse. And it was in the reverse for our fire signs in the present, but for you, we have it in the upright in the past. So it's almost as if there was equilibrium, there was an end to burdens and responsibilities for you in your past here. Dropping those, moving on to greener pastures, dropping the encounter of deception, and taking a risk to choose somebody. And it ended a sense of ferocious independence where you had to do everything alone. There is now balance and equilibrium in the past here that we see at the end of this line, this chain for the past. In the present for you, Earth signs, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. What do we have next? That's too many. Can't take that many. We have 3 again. Didn't I tell you 9? And that's 3 by 3 is 9. 5 of Pentacles in the upright with the 3 of Cups in the reverse with the 8 of Pentacles in the reverse. Right now, there's a feeling of being left out in the cold. It's the result, with the 3 of Cups in the reverse, it's the result of, it's a victimhood mentality, actually. Not really feeling that you're empowered at this moment in time, but it's a choice rather than a reality. These individuals can warm themselves in that building behind them. They're choosing to stand out in the cold there. And so it's sitting in a victimhood mentality. as a result of not being connected with the spiritual, with the sanctity of the spiritual, mental and physical aspects of the self. This could also be where one is choosing not to engage with others, because this can also be about friendships and partnerships and contracts. So being disengaged is creating this victimhood mindset, this lack of empowerment. So disengaging is a part of that. And it's also impacting the work environment at the same time. Feeling as if with this Eight of Pentacles in the reverse, one is not honing their craft, is not engaging in mastery of one's profession. This can also be where one is not working actively towards mastering a skill. It's not necessarily always that you're not working at this time, or that things are not working out for you at your job, or that you're going to get fired or something, unless we see cards, that surround it that would indicate that. I'll put them down and I'll take a look in a second. Let's just take a look here. But it seems as if you're not, you or somebody else that you're surrounded by is not connected with the three aspects of self in an effective manner. And therefore, they as in you or somebody else, isn't honing one's craft, isn't mastering a skill, and not engaging in the adventurousness and risk-taking in order to do it by way of deceiving oneself or deceiving others. It's almost as if the retreat, like in the present, one looks at their past as if they were retreating from something. They're not considering it to be an empowering move, but rather an escape from something, or like somebody took the easy way out. They're not looking at it from the right angle. Just looking at that Ten of Wands in the reverse and the Six of Swords and the Ace of Swords in the reverse, they're looking at it from the wrong perspective with that Five of Pentacles there. They're choosing to see it as from a victimhood mindset in the present. There needs to be a flip in the dialogue, the self self-talk when it comes to this. But I don't think somebody is connected with the right aspect of self in order to see things correctly. As if like there's a fog on the lens, do you know? Like they could see it as an empowering move to move forward and drop burdens and responsibilities, to seek out something that is better for themselves and see that as an empowering move. But I think they're seeing it as something that in the past was taken from them. And it's because there is the lack of perspective here is either because they're disengaged from others who can help them see things from a different perspective, or they're disengaged from the aspect of self that would help them to kind of appreciate things from a different level of understanding. And it's got them kind of sitting in a space where they're not focused on honing their craft. They're not focused on mastering the skill, and therefore aren't taking the necessary risks, aren't being as adventurous, aren't striking out where they need to in order to engage in their work in a productive manner. They might, like, that's a loss of productivity as well. Dishonesty is involved in the loss of productivity. Or somebody is in the present being dishonest about their productivity, like they're producing more Like I'm seeing here also that they're producing more than they're representing, or they're more productive than they're letting on, or they're lying to themselves about how productive they could be. They're telling themselves that, and I would have to see if Five of Swords to say it's self-deception, but right now they're saying something isn't working for them, or that they're not where they should be for their skill set, or that something isn't working out for them. But that's not true. They're just not seeing the risk that's required because they're disengaged. Tell me more. In the present, oh, I have a flipper. Knight of Swords in the reverse. Yeah, they're not seeing something, but they're not taking impulsive action. This is a Gemini card. However, at the same time, like I was saying, the Fool's right diagonal to our Eight of Pentacles in the reverse, and then we have a Knight of Swords right beside it in the reverse. So a lack of impulsivity, a lack of impulsive daring action. Sometimes it's good not to be impulsive and act from that quicksilver space. However, at the same time, I think this person is not involving themselves in risk-taking behavior at the detriment of their professional life. At this time, there's a little bit of reticence to do so. I think it's fear. If the Devil card comes down, I would definitely say it's fear. But the impulsivity, the lack of impulsivity is stunting their professional growth. Sorry guys, I hate to be the one who's not giving you this love reading, because a lot of people come to tarot for that, but the risk taking isn't there. Give me a sign. Give me a sign. Somebody's looking for, somebody's looking for a sign to indicate when it's time to move forward with something, or what path to move forward on. When really they just need to be impulsive and go after something like that. Normally we would say that, and especially from a Capricorn perspective, throwing the spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks would be considered irresponsible, but and absolutely impulsive. But at the same time, the cautiousness of a Capricorn can actually lead to stagnancy. So with risk taking, there's a certain amount of assumed risk that's good. It keeps you growing and moving forward, right? What else? We just had one twist. How's more in the present for Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, Sun, Rising, Earth signs for April to May? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Queen of Cups in the reverse. This is Cancerian energy, but it's somebody doesn't feel connected with the intuitive space. Somebody doesn't feel connected with their intuition. They might be feeling over emotional and slightly erratic when it comes to their moods and emotions at this time. They could also feel out of touch with their emotions when it comes to their lover, or like their intuition is off when it comes to their romantic connections. The risk taking that they're engaged, like involved in, lacks the impulsivity, but when they do it, like the intuitive sense is off. So there's emotional volatility. The Queen of Cups is a highly poetic, romantic, intuitive, female, Cancerian aspect, connected with family. So there's like almost a sense of like, and not being connected with the family, not being connected with one's soul, like their purpose, their higher self's purpose, and feeling as if there's a feeling as if endings are connected to this, as if endings have knocked the equilibrium off. Like there in the past there was an ending that created equilibrium and a connection that brought an ending to imbalance and created this and transformed something into a space of equilibrium. But at the same time, there's this disconnectedness with one's intuitive, like with one's intuition, and somebody feels as if because they can't feel, they can't feel the right direction to move in. They can't feel the right words. They can't see the path forward for themselves. That they shouldn't move forward in any direction. Maybe I'm looking for the wrong direction. Maybe I'm looking for any direction. Yeah. And while that's the case, whoever this isn't moving in any direction because they lack direction in their connections and in their professional life. Something happened up here that has got them totally feeling like their intuition is off. The things that they think, feel, everything's off. I can't move anywhere. I'm just going to stay where it's safe and I'm not going to fucking move. That's the sense that I'm getting. But it's like like the Eight of Swords energy where you're locked in that mental prison, the mind, when you're operating in a vacuum and you don't have anybody else to bounce your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings off of, it kind of becomes like an echo chamber where you're never going to, like, the new ideas don't arise, and there is no fresh perspective. There's no one offering any input other than what you got within yourself. And so you get kind of locked in that space of not being able to see anything any differently. And then shit just goes on loop from there, right? What else? Lastly, in the present for our earth signs. An Eight of Swords. You're realizing this now, right? I think you are. I think you're realizing this now for yourself, that you're living in a little bit of an echo chamber, and that something has to change, something has to give. You have to come into balance with yourself. It's right below the Death card and the Six of Pentacles. Lovers is right there. You know that you can't follow your intuition, and then just kind of like sitting there kind of ruminating, letting things play out in your head over and over and over. It has to end because there's a lack of balance, or you know that you have to come into balance. You know something has to end so you can come into balance. And it might be that you need to bounce your thoughts and feelings off of your lover, the one that you have chosen and come into partnership with in the past, to kind of help you and guide you, because you realize that you have to step outside of that circle of swords that's locked you in. You gain perspective on this. Look at it. It's almost like a hanged man. You know, you need somebody else's perspective to get you out from that tree trunk. You know? In the future, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, what do we have in the future for you? Give me a sign. Somebody's still looking for the sign The sign, the sign, the sign. What's the sign? What's the sign? Give me the guidance. I need the sign. I need to know which way to go. How do I know what the right decision is, what the right answer is, what the right sign is, what the right path is? You know, like no one does. No one has the answers, man. The Hermit in the reverse with the Queen of Swords in the reverse, yeah. Virgo, Libra, there's your sign. By the way, the Hermit is card 9, by the way. There's your sign. This is the time. This is a timing to me, because that's the cusp of Virgo and Libra, which would be mid-September. The changing into Libra season from Virgo season. Especially if you're a Virgo, because the Hermit card is a Virgo card. What we're seeing here is, so with the Hermit is a guy who goes into the cave of self-discovery with a lantern, which is knowledge. It's illumination. Illumination is knowledge. And he goes into the cave. And when this is in the reverse, it's somebody who emerges from the cave having learned a deep personal truth. This is the sign. You've emerged from the cave of self-discovery having learned a deep personal truth about fairness, justice, and equality, but rather the lack of fairness, balance, equilibrium, and what injustice is. And it's cutting, a lack of truth. What isn't fair? And maybe that life isn't fair, you know? And I think that was kind of what I was getting at, is that nobody knows the answers. And if that's not fair, well, life isn't fair. Shitty things happen to people all the time. Life isn't fair. It's your ability to be to be resilient and persevere, regardless of if life is fair, regardless of if things are balanced, regardless of if things are just, regardless of if people lie to you or lie about you, or if, one person gets more than another person does. Well, so what? Life is not fair, and you are not owed anything by the universe. You just have to move forward. And your deep personal truth, what is your deep personal truth in relation to this? Are you a just and fair individual? Are you a balanced individual? Sometimes I think that when we see this together with this, maybe the deep personal truth is that you do not have balance in your life, and especially since it's right underneath the Three of Cups there. There's negative self-talk. There's a lack of empowerment, and you've been sitting in a victimhood mentality in the present, and having this here with it, I think that is the deep personal truth, is that sometimes you can engage in some pretty pessimistic thinking. And that's not actually being fair to yourself. Definitely not. But I think that you're kind of off kilter in terms of your perspective on your perception of things, rather. And that disengaging from others and disengaging from one of the three aspects of self is probably, that's the result of that, is the negative self-talk, the self-limiting beliefs, the victimhood mentality, all of that kind of stuff. That pessimistic viewpoint is a result of disengaging from other people and bouncing your ideas off of other people. And that there has to be balance in all things in moderation, including how much you're engaging in mastering your craft. You have to invest in your craft. You have to invest in building your skills in order to have equilibrium. You can't throw all of your energy into your relationships with a romantic partner or your work. Or right? Vice versa. You can't. I mean, I certainly did a great deal of that in the past. I've done a lot of that in the past. Actually, my personal relationships suffered immensely because I was dumping all of my energy into my professional life, and then my professional life fucking collapsed. And and it was like all for nothing. So sometimes it can be the inverse of that. A lot of people throw all of their energy and efforts into their romantic relationships or their friendships or their family, and then all of a sudden that collapses and they have nothing to show for it in their professional lives. So it can be any of those types of things. Bouncing your ideas off of other people, or engaging in a lot more connectedness with the spiritual side of yourself, the mental side of yourself, or the physical side of yourself, is important here. But also understanding where the equilibrium is off, as far as are you a negative person, a positive person? Sometimes there can be toxic positivity too. So it's about balance and equilibrium and how fair you're being at the same time. What else in the future? Or signs? Okay. A seven of wands and the 9 of pentacles. There's another sign for you. 9 of pentacles, the 7 of wands. Dropping one's guard. Not being so defensive. Don't be so defensive over your lack of productivity, or whether or not you are putting energy into honing a craft, or building up your skill in some professional endeavor. Don't also gatekeeping. Don't be a gatekeeper when it comes to, skill building. When it comes to a specific skill set. I hate to be redundant, but it's true. And then, also the 9 of Pentacles. This is independence, being able to take care of oneself instead of relying on others. Self-reliance, being able to be the master of one's own time, support oneself, somebody calls it, I think it's Sassy Scorpion. She calls this, Christina, she calls it the garden of one's own making. It's your ability to rely on yourself. It's your complete independence, and also your ability to hold dominion over your own energy, your own time, your own resources, your own monetary resources also. Don't gatekeep, don't be defensive. That's that 7 of Wands. Your ability to be impulsive or refrain from being impulsive is a strength of yours. It is your independent choice. And the fact that you actually have that choice is a part of it. Speaks to the self-reliance that you have. You can rely on yourself to make that choice, and you can trust in it. You feel like you have to defend. There's something interesting here that's coming in, though, about feeling like you have to defend yourself for being independent. Or like there's a defensive energy, like you defend your right to be independent, or you take a great deal of pride in being independent in the future. But it's independence to a fault. You want to do everything yourself, but you're not building up the skill level required in order to maintain it. Not connected enough with the emotional side of things, more connected with the tangible side of things too. But you, 7 of Wands, yeah, you're like defensive. You defend your right to choose whether or not to impulsively act. You defend your right to choose whether or not you're going to continue to master one skill at the detriment of others, or because you want to do everything yourself. Because you want to be self-reliant and independent, you refuse to learn from others. You don't collaborate with others in the future because you want to do it yourself. which we all know you can't possibly do everything by yourself. You have to collaborate with others in this world. Otherwise, I mean, you're not like a walking encyclopedia, and you have to collaborate with others. Other people have things to teach you. I think you might realize that, but there's also, let's see what else. Give me a sign. I was actually looking at this. I don't think we actually have these here. I actually am fairly certain we don't. I was looking at the butterflies in this card, but then I was thinking that's not it. And then I looked at this. It was like you're disconnected from your intuition, but then I saw that. I was like, no, that's fireflies. I was thinking here. And then I looked at this and I was like, oh yeah, fireflies. There's something about a firefly. That's a sign, a firefly. Tell me more. Tell me more. Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. You're trying to listen for something and you can't hear it. King Cups, you're trying to connect to the heart space. You're trying to be intuitive with something. Scorpio energy. You see how he's sitting there on that rock meditating? Trying to connect with the higher self, trying to get the answers. King of Cups is somebody who's highly protective over their heart space. You could be doing like a heart chakra meditation or something. This is somebody who protects their heart space and gives of their heart space when the choice is correct only. I find it interesting that right above it we had the Queen of Cups in the reverse, but we have this in the upright right below it. You're not trying to build something any longer. It's like fixed energy instead of cardinal energy. Instead of the fixed energy, instead of building something, try to be the fixed energy. Instead of the cardinal energy, try to be the fixed energy. So trying to produce something or build something, be the monument. Instead of the one who builds the monument, be the monument. Be the one who provides and withholds the emotional energy, the protector of the emotional energy, instead of the one who produces the emotional energy. Something about the sun. In morning meditation. This is morning meditation, by the way. He's sitting there in the morning. This is in the morning. He's sitting there meditating during the morning hours on a rock in the water. loving kindness meditation in the future. Give me some patience. By the way, the song that I keep hearing that give me a sign, give me some guidance, all that is called BBK and it's by Korn. I only got 2 songs when I was waiting to come in and do this, and there was A Rush of Blood to the Head and BBK by Korn. Which is actually an extremely old song. It's almost 30 years old. It's like 28 years old or some shit like that. Okay. Too many? We got 2. 767. 767. 7 plus 6 is 13 plus 7 is 20. 2 plus 0 is 2. 2. 2. The number 2. Yeah, X will mark the place. Wheel of Fortune. X will mark the place. There could be like a treasure map, you know. Wheel of Fortune in the upright and the 7 of Swords in the reverse. No deception. This is coming out of treachery. Usually this is about treachery, lies, deceit from another, somebody hiding something from you, and then the Wheel of Fortune. X will mark the space. X will mark the place, like the parting of the ways. This is about movement forward, good fortune, good luck, progress being made, forward progress. And then also with that, it's, you know, the lifting of treachery. Could also be the Wheel of the Year. Let's take a look. I'm glad that I wore my glasses. I don't know if there are symbols on there. Your girl is getting old. There are no symbols on there. Are there symbols on there? If there are, I cannot see them. I don't think there are symbols on that wheel. The Wheel of the Year could be the turning of the Wheel of the Year. But I can't see any symbols on there. Maybe you can. I don't see any. Anyway, movement forward of the wheel. Again, remember what I was saying about fixed energy though, because the wheel is fixed energy. The signs of Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. And I was going to say when the veil lifts, treachery will lift with the veil at the turning of the year, the Wheel of the Year. This is Samhain, which is in Scorpio season, so Halloween, which is during fixed sign. There will be something revealed to you in meditation at the lifting of the veil. I don't know. It takes 10 seconds. Ask a question. It can be an open-ended question. It can be a yes, no. We'll figure out what you could possibly need from our book of answers here. Hopefully it makes sense to you. Move on. You might not you might have had trouble letting go of something in the past. Very simple, right? Also, yeah, move on. There's something from the past that you moved on from, but I don't think you've let go of the energy of that. That's what I've got. Okay. I'm going to go look at what I'm making for dinner. And I hope this worked out for you. I hope this all works out for you. And we'll see you when we see you next.